it, but it's still going to go to the rope. Safi and Sharif can't cut that off. Nepal fans will wonder if they're dreaming. They're in absolute ecstasy here at the ground, and I suspect around the world too. Kushal Patel back opening the batting, back where he belongs, many will say.
Well, he has looked more fluent than pretty much anyone today. I know Charlie Tier played well for his 80, but this is magnificent stuff from Patel. And he hasn't looked like he's overhitting anything. It's just been good timing, good conventional cricket shots. But he has been given a number of gifts. That's a third of the boundaries scored in that over.
Just trying to get a look at the last ball, the previous over. We've got a few issues, with our setup here that we're not able to bring you every replay. Just trying to get it established as to whether or not that last ball was a drop. This was the one that we think was half a chance. Mark Watt went quickly like a goalkeeper. He's a big football fan, is Mark Watt, to his right, but he couldn't get an outstretched right hand on that. And then the final ball of the over, again, you might be able to tell us better watching at home. I just wonder whether or not it might have been an outside edge to Mark Watt again. Could have come off the gloves of Cross. I think it might have been an edge. Wasn't any appeal or any reaction, so maybe it wasn't. Hard for us to tell. Pulled powerfully, well in front of square by Asif Sheikh, who wants to get in on the act as well. Nepal are really riding on the coattails of a return to their opener, regular opening pairing of Asif Sheikh and Kushal Patel. Been so impressed by the way in which these two have started. Patel the dominant force, but Sheikh very much playing his hand too, and both not afraid to play their shots. We did say that we felt the pitch was stopping a touch in that first innings, if anything flattening out a little bit, but the big challenge for Scotland here, Mel, is that without Brad Curry in the attack, they just don't seem to have penetration. With due respect to Davidson, who's probably the quickest of them, Charlie Castle, who's on the bench today, to Safi and Sharif, to Brandon McMullen, they're all medium pace. Mm-hmm. And there just isn't really that cutting threat. Gavin Mains in the T20I squad, he'll bring back some X factor, but he's got significant work commitments, and there's no Chris Soule at the moment.
And they're all right arm medium pace as well, so it is that lack of variety. And it's frustrating because a lot of times in the past couple of years, Scotland have actually had really good variety in their attack. If you're looking at, they had 3 different spin options between Watt, Leask and Chris Greaves as well, who's not in the squad. And then they had the express pace of Chris Soule. They had the swing of McMullen. Then they had various other options with Sharif as well. But yeah, it's just... And Brad Wheel, of course. Don't forget Brad Wheel. They are missing a lot of firepower.
Driven down the ground now and driven with real aplomb. It's very long up there, 72 metres, so Jack Jarvis will cut it off. He's the other seam bowling option. Again, a similar pace. Mm-hmm. So Michael Leask and Mark Watt may have a big role to play today. And actually, one thing Stuart Law said to me just as I walked across the ground to get another layer for us to wear in the second innings, because it's very chilly indeed here in Dundee. he said, well, it looks like that pitch might have deceived us all. Maybe we should have picked more spinners. And certainly I think he was of the opinion that maybe Rohit Paudel could have bowled himself or Dipender Singh Airi to get more spin into that first innings. Pace looks like it's just being lined up right now, and that power play, well, it very much belongs to the men from Nepal, who after a 7-month wait to get back into ODI action have started very brightly, ahead of the required rate, no wickets down. And I just had one rather brilliant message, Mel, you're going to enjoy this. They said, well, this is like India against Nepal in the Asia Cup, because it was those two, wasn't it? It was Asif Sheikh and Kushal Bertel who put on 65 inside 10 overs, but they lost a wicket from the last ball of the power play. Today they haven't. Very much shades of that as Bertel went after the likes of Ravindra Jadeja and Mohammad Siraj that day. Today it's been all of the Scottish bowlers on the receiving end. Things looking very good for Nepal.
That's a terrific start, 6.4 and over, and well ahead of the run rate that they require to reach this target. Of course, a couple of wickets and things can change dramatically, but McMullen is going to continue.
Edged away. Did get word from one fan watching who felt it was definitely a drop catch, and felt it definitely came off the edge to first slip. So between the one that flew wide of Mark Watt in the previous over and then the one that may well have come straight off the outside edge and been dropped by Watt, there's been a few moments of real contention in Scotland. Well, they look like they've just taken a few blows out there. They're looking a bit rattled.
Yeah, and it's Bertel doing the rattling as well. He's gladly taken up every single loose delivery that's been offered to him. On strike now. Just Scotland need to find a way to just calm things down, string together a few tighter overs, just start to put pressure back on them. At the moment, it's not felt like there's been any pressure on this opening partnership at all.
The talk I'm hearing from a very good source back in Nepal is that was definitely an edge. So again, our apologies, we are battling a wee bit between the classic 4 seasons in one day weather that we're receiving, the sun kind of skirting in between the clouds, and a monitor we can't really see too well. But by all accounts, that means that Kushal Bertel was dropped from the final ball of McMullen's previous over. He's gone around the park. He's travelled at, well, the best part of 9 runs per over at the moment.
That'd be easier to deal with if you had a wicket.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Just like Rijan Dakal showed when he picked up that at George Munsey. But I think the Nepal fans will be looking at this start and saying, this is more like it. This is the new era that we were hoping for and dreaming of. And, you know, very much getting a player and a coach of Stuart Law's calibre into the role. I know it's early days, but you'd have to think there's a lot of sense behind that appointment from the Cricket Association of Nepal.
Well, you also have that little honeymoon period often in across all sports when it comes to a new coach with teams. So often you see teams going through a bad run, get a new coach in, and suddenly things seem to change. It doesn't always last for that long either, but there is something in that new coach honeymoon period because you just see it so often. A long way to go, of course, but the lack of variety in this Scotland bowling attack is a bit of a worry.
This is helped away into the leg side. Should be at least a couple. Asif Sheikh prides himself on his fitness, as so many of this Nepal team do. I have to say the boys look particularly fit and strong. They've always been one of the very fittest groups in the associate game, but I gather something that Stuart Law has absolutely impressed upon them is that there is no room for even one slightly unfit player anywhere in and around the setup. So even someone like Sandeep Lamachani looks like he's really trimmed up, got into even better shape, and you'd imagine that this could be a fascinating era to watch. And if Nepal can get winning, there's a long way to go in this game and on this tour, but if they can get winning, this Cricket World Cup League 2 table is going to take so many twists and turns over the course of the next 18 months.
Yeah, I just don't take anything for granted on that table, because we have seen so many topsy-turvy. Look, part of it is obviously going to be with home advantage for certain sides as well. But some of the results, you just look at them and go, how is that possible after the previous round?
Well, I did send a message of congratulations to Jatinder Singh after his team's efforts in Florida. I was very heavily questioned on air in February in Muscat as to how successful this Oman side could be away from home, given they were so heavily reliant on spin in that fantastic homestand where they won 7 from 8 over the likes of the Netherlands and US.